While making global adjustments is a really quick way of making an edit, local adjustments have far more control, and it's these tools that can really bring an image to life. So first up, we've got the crop tool. Now the crop tool is a great way of adjusting your composition or removing distractions from around the edge of the frame, or even for choosing a different crop ratio. Click on the crop tool and drag the edges to help you recompose the shot. We can adjust the angle of the crop by moving the angle slider, or if we have a straight horizon, we can use the level tool to drag a line along the horizon line, and the crop will be leveled along that line. The aspect is, as it sounds, either landscape or portrait orientation. Clicking on original will allow you to select a ratio, for example 5:4 or 16:9. For this example, let's choose a 16:9 crop ratio. This allows us to put the fern in the lower left-hand third and to get all the waterfalls in and eliminate that patch of white sky. Click Done when you're satisfied. If you press O on the keypad when you're using the crop tool, you can scroll through different overlays such as the golden ratio. These can help you to recompose your shot. I usually leave mine to the standard rule of thirds setting. If you wish to have free control over your crop, then click the padlock button and drag the sides independently of each other. Using the crop tool is non-destructive, so you can change it at any time. One thing to mention though is that if you take an image into Photoshop to do some work on that image and then bring it back into Lightroom, you'll have fixed the crop. For this reason, if I plan to take an image into Photoshop, I always take off the crop first, and then I have the full image to adjust at a later date back in Lightroom. Next is the spot removal tool. The spot removal tool is a great way of removing objects in a photo. Simply click the tool, adjust the size by dragging the slider or by using the wheel on the mouse. Click on what you wish to remove and drag out the other circle to where you wish to clone from. It's really easy to use, but can be problematic for big or tricky areas. For bigger areas, I would usually take an image into Photoshop and work from there. The graduated filter is another excellent tool for selectively changing characteristics of a certain parts of an image. Simply select it and drag it over a part of an image that you wish to change. We now have a plethora of controls at our disposal, very similar to the Basics tab, but we're only applying these effects to the area of image where the filter is applied. To see your mask, hit O on the keyboard. Let's reduce the exposure a little, add in a little clarity to make the clouds pop, and remove some saturation to make it feel more natural. We also have the ability to add a range mask. This means we can mask out certain areas of the filter. So for this example, we do not want the filter to be applied to the hills, just the sky. So let's use the luminance range mask. Click on Show Mask, which helps us to see more clearly. Now let's drag the darks to the right. Watch how the red mask dissipates away from the hills, meaning our effect isn't applied to that area. We can use the smoothness to feather this effect. I find that luminance range mask works better than the colour mask, but both work the same. One affects the luminance, the other the colours. So now if we exaggerate this effect, it's not being applied to the hills, just the sky areas. The radial filter very much works the same as the graduated tool. However, this time we're applying the effects to either inside or outside of a circle. This is great as we can make our selection to very small areas of an image or very large areas of an image. Let's say we'd like to add a vignette to this image. Let's drag our radial filter so this fills most of the scene. Now let's reduce our exposure a little. As you can see, everything outside of the circle is having the applied effect. We can now adjust the feathering by moving the feathering slider. Now let's say we'd like to add in some clarity and sharpening just to this stone wall here. Let's drag another radial filter tool out to the wall. You can drag the handles to get the correct shape. This time though, we want the effect to be applied to everything inside the circle. To do this, we have to select Invert. Now we're affecting everything inside the circle. Again, just like the graduated tool, we can add a range mask to remove certain colours or luminance from the filter. Moving on to the adjustment brush. The adjustment brush is a great way of getting selective about applying local adjustments. Let's apply some dodging and burning to this image. First, select the brush, then boost the highlights and exposure slightly. This will be our dodging brush. Let's apply some dodging to this image. We can adjust the settings after we've done our painting to the desired level. Click Done when we're finished. Then open another brush tool and paint in some negative exposure to the shadows to burn them. If we paint over an area, simply hit Alt on the keyboard to paint out an area with the same brush. Again, use the O key for the orange overlay to see where you've painted. At the bottom, we have the ability to change the brush size and add a range mask as we did before with the graduated and radial tools. If you need to remove any of the adjustment filters that you have applied, simply right-click on the grey button to remove it. These tools are some of the most powerful features in Lightroom and let you be really selective about the adjustments that you make.